Testing 1 2 1 2. Just talking to yours again, Steve. See if I can hear it through the earphones.
One, two, three, four. 1 2 3 4. Good evening. Welcome to Green Gully. This is microphone number 2.
It's very soothing, Steve. Very soothing voice.
Oh, likewise, man. Wishing you a warm welcome to NPL Victoria Men's Match of the Round on the NPL Victoria live stream. Anzac Day football here in round 11 of the competition, coming to you from Green Gully Reserve on Friday night. My name's Steve Curtin. Alongside me tonight, my co-commentator Mark Ivkovic, and we'll join Mark in a moment as the players come out onto the park here, Green Gully in their home kit, the green and white vertical stripes, South Melbourne in their change kit, the all navy blue, and they're going to line up here as we pause to commemorate the ceremony for Anzac Day here. Both sets of players will pause for a minute and a half as we honour those who have served our country and New Zealand as well, and returned or even paid the highest price, as we pause here for a moment's silence at Green Gully Reserve. The Esteban Quintas era at South Melbourne is over. 2 wins from 10 league outings, leaving the national second division bound club only one place out of the NPL Victoria relegation zone. Not enough to keep the top job at Lakeside for the 2024 Premier's Plate and Doherty Cup winning coach. Thus, a new era begins tonight under the guidance of caretaker managers Lee Menopoulos and Tyson Holmes. While Green Gully return home for the first time since they trounced the Knights here at Keilor Downs some 6 weeks ago. Improvements to the pitch and the floodlighting here have seen the club playing away from home, and the venue is looking in tip-top shape for what should be a fantastic encounter tonight in round 11, the NPL Victoria Match of the Round in the men's competition. And David Schick's side has had an improved run of form, and a win tonight could see them end up in the top 6 by full time tonight. As I said, Steve Curtin with you on the commentary tonight, and it's a very warm welcome to the broadcast position, Mark Ivkovic.
Yeah, good evening, Steve. Good to be here at this nice, beautiful, lush pitch at Green Gully Reserve. And, yeah, a new era for South Melbourne, as you said. So it'll be interesting to see what changes Lee Menopoulos makes in terms of their playing style that, you know, was heavily criticised by a lot of people. So it'll be interesting to see the changes there. And a big opportunity for Green Gully tonight to go 6 points clear of South Melbourne and, you know, give them some breathing space and a chance to start pushing for that top 6.
And Gully have made no change to that side that won 2-1 2 kilometres down the road from here at Churchill Reserve. Liam Driscoll continuing goal. In defence, Matty Crooks, who served his suspension in the Cup during the week. Also, Judd McDougall, who debuted in that game. Jalil Regay, Declan Wynn. In midfield, the 3 is Paul Hodges, Scott Lockhead and Josh Hope. The front 3, Gianluca Iannucci, Amir Abdullah and Casper Hallam. Giannis Zizis is the man in the middle tonight. We're about to get underway here, and it's Green Gully playing to the right of your screen at home, the northern end of Green Gully Reserve. And, well, we mentioned it's being a new era, the start of a new era for South Melbourne. They did play against the Eastern Lions on Easter Saturday in Cup football. They had a 3-0 win under their caretaker coaches Lee Menopoulos and Tyson Holmes. There's 2 changes to their last league starting 11, which sees Lucas Inglese and Max Mikola starting from the bench. Those two players were in the starting 11 on that occasion. So we see Harvey Lopez in goal. In defence, Morgan Evans, Marko Jankovic, Jake Marshall and Jack Painter-Andrews in midfield. Cooper Halfpenny, Jack Pope and George Mells. A more advanced role forecast for Jordan Lampard, Andy Brennan in attack, and Rob Harding, who scored 2 in that cup win over the Eastern Lions, both of them coming in the first half in that encounter at Gardner's Creek Reserve. He lines up leading the attack tonight. Here's Abdullah looking to get Gully going forward. Casper Hallam, who's been in a good run of form, it was his bravery that won the penalty kick in that last league outing that was converted by Amir Abdullah against his former Hume City teammate Jackson Riley. Set them on their path, and as we mentioned, Matty Crook sent off in that match for 2 yellow cards. He was able to start again at right back today, having served that suspension in the cup win over Keilor Park in midweek, and it was Jalil Regaig, the man who's down on the floor at the moment, who was the scorer of the decisive goal that separated the two sides on that cup encounter. We must mention as well, one of the star players for Green Gully, last year's gold medalist, Amir Abdullah, 50 games in NPL Victoria for him tonight, so congratulations. And hasn't it been a fantastic performance that we've seen him put together, a great body of work over the 49 games he's played so far. And 17 goals in his 49 games he's played leading up to tonight, and perhaps another one to come tonight.
Yeah, be hoping to find that form that he had last season. He's slowly starting to find his rhythm at Green Gully. Probably playing a different role at Green Gully this year as well. You know, he was a out-and-out winger last season. He's played as a 9 and in the midfield so far this season for Gully. So slowly starting to find his feet.
Just a slight adjustment to that starting lineup as I read it out for South, that we do see the former Cavalier in Jordan Lampard starting in his familiar left-back position, but he's wearing an unfamiliar number for those tuning in at home. He's not wearing his number 3, the customary shirt. They must have lost that in the set of away kits. He's wearing 17. So just to keep us on our toes there, back at the venue where he was a mainstay at that position as well for 4 or 5 years before making the switch to Lakeside. So it means Andy Brennan starts as the left winger, and Jack Painter-Andrews, who was used a lot as a right back under Esteban Quintas, gets a chance to start in the attacking third as the right winger here.
Which was his preferred position prior to coming to South Melbourne as well. When he was at the Bentley Greens, made his name as an attacking winger. So I think he'd be happy that he's put back out wide, and he does have a lot of threat going forward. But to be fair, under Esteban's reign, he was very good defensively as well.
Maybe a victim of his own success without the ball there, Mark, perhaps. But with no Max Mickler in the starting 11 too, the interesting thing will be to see, do they use Jack Painter-Andrews, who's usually the backup long throw specialist? Will they go the aerial assault when they get those throw-ins in the wide areas?
Well, you would assume that in a situation like they are in now that they would be opting for that, but going for the standard throw-in in football.
Here's Brennan. Had his pocket picked by Lockhead. Abdullah now. Lampard using his body. Whistle on play here. Giannis is the man in the middle tonight. Assisted by Luke Genimatis, Dimitri Gunaris, and the fourth official is Makis Lukeris. Free kick going the way of the visitors. Yellow card has been pulled out of the pocket here. Protests from Iannucci, not agreeing with the decision. Had the old peroxide out for the last league encounter. It looks like he's shaved it all off now, has Gianluca Iannucci. Still been deemed to be the guilty party here. Here's the free kick from Mells. In it comes to the back post area. It's a little bit too deep. Not the delivery he was looking for. And, well, the tall timber that had got forward, Jankovic and Marshall, to jog back to the halfway line and await the next opportunity to saunter forward.
It's a horrible delivery, if we're being honest, Steve. South have made set pieces their bread and butter for an avenue towards goal. So obviously something a little bit different there that didn't work.
So just confirmation of that early yellow card to Gianluca Iannucci. His first of the season, so he racked up a stack of yellow cards in that match out at Churchill Reserve a fortnight ago, their last league outing. 8 Green Gully players cautioned in that one. I'll be hoping they don't see as many slices of cheese this evening. A couple of players already on 4 and facing a suspension. Round 12 if they were to be booked again tonight. One of them is Scott Lockhead, and the other one actually is Morris Nugent, who we saw doing some extra fitness work before the game. He's not involved in the match day squad tonight. Headed there on the far side by Declan Wynn, the left back. This is Mal's looking to make amends for that disappointing set piece earlier. Now Lockhead. This is Wynn. Which side can settle first? Josh Hope, who scored the goal of the round in his last league encounter. What a finish that was. Straight out of the game of FIFA or Pro Evo. That move that he spun on the St Albans defence and then put it right in the top corner.
Glad you mentioned Pro Evo there, Steve. It's probably the better of the two.
Definitely gets forgotten. I'm more of a FIFA man myself. FIFA 2000 heritage, me. I was going back a few years. It's probably the game that I played most. Showing my age too much, I hope.
I'm not sure if you could hear Lee Monopolis shouting at Lampard there. Throw-ins are to feet, so a clear change in approach for South Melbourne.
Well, no doubt our viewers at home heard that through the FX mic. It couldn't have been more clear from Lee Monopolis, and clear communication. Now there's a problem here on the Green Gully technical area. Giannis Isis is having a chat with, looks like Craig Filer. There's a little discussion to kick off things for the evening. There's a smile on the face of Mr. Filer and a stern look from Giannis Isis. Just showing the Gully technical area who's in charge. Lampard with the throw. And it was by Crooks. Here's Pope.
Again, you're seeing that phase of play there with Pope. You would usually expect South Melbourne just to knock that straight back into the penalty area, but just recycle possession, start again, something different.
It's exciting to see history unfolding before our eyes here. South Melbourne in their post-Esteban era and after a long helm at the club. Brennan. Lampard, good pressure from Crooks. Good crowd in here tonight as well. South Melbourne bringing the travelling fans, and well, not a lot else to do tonight. Plenty of football on as well. We'll keep you across the scores around the grounds. 5 games today. A short time ago at Paisley Park, it was Oakley Cannons leading the Altona Magic 2-0. So that watertight defence at Paisley Park for the Magic has been breached on this rainy Melbourne afternoon and early evening. Evans out wide, combining with Peter Andrews, the two right-sided players, and no nonsense from McGregor. Shuffling across from his central defensive role and starting a new role with a new partnership, should I say, with the West Aussie Judd McDougall, who one of our viewers might not know too much about. He's come across the Nullarbor from Perth Soccer Club in the off-season, only to debut last week, and spent a lot of time. He was at Perth Glories Academy since the under-12, so he's plenty of experience in the A-League Academy system, and see what he can offer the 20-year-old. First shot of the game at the near post. Bristol at full stretch. It's harmless in the end.
Not a bad effort from Andy Brennan on the spin, especially in these conditions. And a newly laid a pitch here at Green Gully Reserve, so the ball's going to really travel at times.
I'm sure it won't be the first low-skidding worm burner attempt on goal we see tonight, and Driscoll would have been annoyed that he was beaten at his near post by Lucas Burns in that last encounter as well against St Albans, albeit he was fairly exposed by his defence at the time. Sends it forward with the left peg. So rain starts to fall here again at Green Gully Reserve. This is Pope receiving from Halfpenny. Payne to Andrews, a touch to get it out of his feet and switching the play. Crooks flew highest. A smaller man, but with a high vertical leap and denying possession for Andy Brennan. It's sitting on 17 degrees here, so really good conditions for the players. It's a damp track, but it'll just make the surface probably play even better. It's a chance for McDougall, but his clearance is only as far as Brennan. This is dangerous here, and is that a penalty? Free kick is the decision from Giannis Dizis. That might well have been inside the area mark.
Well, first look, it did look as the contact was outside the box. Just watching it again now.
McDougall's clearance on his right foot didn't have much penetration on it. There's a little bit of a slip as the tackle came in.
Might have been inside the area there, Steve.
Gully will be thankful that there's no video assistant referee here in NPL Victoria. Tight call either way.
Horrible clearance from McDougall, though. You need to clear your lines in that situation.
Here's Mel's, his second opportunity from the set piece as the rain gets heavier here. Payne to Andrews, good pressure from Lockhead. He's got no one ahead of him in a green and white shirt, so he's going to gallop over the halfway line. Support comes now in the shape of the left back, Declan Wynn, and a really good cover. Morgan Evans there, who's looking confident at right back. Obviously got the faith to start there from Lemonopoulos and Tyson Holmes, and he's repaying that already in this encounter.
And that's something you don't see from Grant Gully in that second phase of that set play. Again, they would always, 10 times out of 10, hit that ball at goal or kill the ball dead. They take a touch and tried to start again there and got exposed on the transition. Luckily, they got back in time, but sometimes you can be a little bit too cute as well. You would prefer that the older system there where you would just take a shot and hope for the best.
Trying to carve out their first effort on Harvey Lopez's goal, but it's going to come the other way in the direction of Rob Harding, who is leading the line tonight. There's no Noel Bernarda in the matchday squad. Max Nicola only deemed fit enough to start from the bench. It's McDougall combining with Iannucci. As we said, he's definitely been to the barber during the week and asked for the ultra short back insides. McDougall trying to make amends for that earlier failed clearance, the West Aussie, and he's got this one out of play. And this is the familiar position where we see the South Melbourne long throw, but it looks like it's going to be again, as we heard from the technical area for South, it's thrown to feet. Here's Halfpenny. It's in by Lampard. McDougall's clearance finds touch in front of the umbrellas and scoreboard there to the left of our picture, which reads Gully 0, South Melbourne 0. Andy Brennan with the only real attempt. Tied in anger so far in this one. In the first 14 minutes of play here. Hodges goes to ground. Winning the free kick, and Gully can try and get themselves up the park here. They've been pinned back in their own half for a reasonable portion of the proceedings so far.
Yeah, that's more of their own doing though, Steve. Some of these clearances from Iannucci in that previous phase with McDougall, they're just not clearing their lines properly and just bringing that pressure upon themselves, so allowing South Melbourne just to continually attack them in their defensive half.
Pressure from Brennan. Crooks does well. Abdallah, the right winger, dropping deep into a central midfield area and distributing the play out wide. This is Declan Wynn, motoring forward in front of the Green Gully fans gathered under the veranda for shelter as the rain gets heavier here. Here's Josh Hope. One way, then the other. There's good pressure from Morgan Evans again. Abdallah, nice little turn to try and get around Pope, but he was double-teamed. Halfpenny and Pope working together. Good combination in that central midfield area for South. The clearance is out of play here, so throw on halfway for Gully to try and force themselves up the ground a little bit. Well, in fact, it had crossed the line earlier, so that'll be well into the South Melbourne half here. Josh Hope with a little pocket of space. Iannucci. It was Wynn back to Regaig, who His pass lets him down. He's one of those players that you think could really have a breakout season in this competition, but often it's his distribution that just needs to improve a little bit, Mark.
Yeah, spot on, Steve. That's the difference at this level, you know. The margins are fine. You need to be on the ball and on your A game, especially
Good commitment from the West Aussie McDougall there as he slid in. Brendan wanted the free kick. Slid in a second effort to try and repel the danger. He stepped out of the defensive line and it was a must-win ball, and he smacked it right into our commentary gantry here. No harm done to the equipment though. Nick behind the camera tonight for Sportscast Australia, giving the best look at the action. And the camera tripod has not moved a muscle after that clearance. But here's a chance for Hallam. He's been quiet so far, and Gully need to get him into the game if they're going to try and threaten this South Melbourne defence, Mark.
Yeah, well, they've struggled to really create anything going forward. There's superb defending by Marshall in that phase of play to win the ball so aggressively, but they need to spend a bit more time in their attacking half. Again, another cheap turnover when they're on a decent attack.
Here's Hodges out to Josh Hope. Out near the players' race on the far side of the ground. Just trying to find a good pocket of space, but there's good pressure on the ball from the South Melbourne midfield. Iannucci out wide, floats the ball in. It's away by Yankovic. It bounced awkwardly in front of him, but he judged the bounce expertly well and was able to make a solid clearance. But Gully back in possession. Everyone behind the ball here for South.
It is a much higher line from South Melbourne, though. You can hear Lee Monopolis calling for it to go even higher. They should be fairly organised under Monopolis and Holmes. You know, both heavily influenced by Chris Taylor in their careers. You know, Monopolis, most of his time at South was spent under Chris Taylor in that successful era, as likewise for Tyson Holmes and Oakley.
This is asking a fair bit of Amir Abdullah, and it's really well played by Jordan Lampard, the left back. Getting back to cover. He knows this ground oh so well, and the slight fall, as you haven't been to Green Gully Reserve, you might be able to pick out on the camera this new surface. It does fall slightly towards the right of screen. One of the quirks of this venue. There's absolutely no breeze at all. You'll see the flags in front of the Green Gully Social Club. They are as limp as you could be. There's not a breath of wind here as the rain is falling straight from above and getting gradually heavier too. So definitely a good crowd here in attendance, considering the elements have been forecast to open. It's not a surprise, and after such a dry spell, if you are a primary producer tuning in tonight, we hope this rain is helpful for you. Good for your garden at home nonetheless, Mark.
Yeah, well, my front lawn needs it. It's looking nothing like this pitch at Green Gully Reserve.
We walked across the pitch pre-match and thinking it looked so good, it almost bordered on looking so perfect, it looked like a synthetic pitch almost.
When they do re-sow the pitch here, it does come up very, very good, and I suppose those number of weeks away from it, have served them good. Definitely suits the way they're trying to play football as well.
Full-time score from Paisley Park, and Altona did find themselves on the scoreboard, but they lost that one 2-1 as the ball comes into the back post area. Towering header was by Marshall. Second ball causing some grief for Gully, but they're able to scramble it away. Been a familiar route to goal under the new management here for South Melbourne. Cross is blocked, and the corner from the far side over from the shipping container side of Green Gully Reserve for South to try and threaten this Cavaliers defence. Almost 20 minutes gone. Steve Curtin and Mark Ivkovic with you. NPL Victoria game of the round 11 of the competition. Back after the Easter break, and isn't it good to have NPL Victoria football back? It's going to be Mel's standing over it with the delivery. Well away by Josh Hope. Textbook defensive header from him, but Mel's is going to float this one in again. Gully, you've got to maintain the concentration here. Regade can make the clearance on the preferred right foot. Foot race here. Abdullah giving chase, but really solid challenge from Morgan Evans, who hasn't put a foot wrong so far tonight. And that was expertly timed as he come across to cut out the 2024 gold medalist attempt to surge forward with the football.
He had to get that spot on, didn't he, Steve? Otherwise he would have been a bit of trouble if Abdullah got to the ball first.
It's a slippery track out there, so if you commit to going to ground, you could quite potentially lose control. Create a dangerous situation, put yourself in trouble with referee Giannis Zizis. As we say that, Scott Lockhead going to ground. Very considerate of Scott Lockhead to play with the socks up and Casper Hallam to play with the socks down, so we can tell those two apart. The numbers on the back of the jersey, number 11 and 17, almost look identical as well, so not to mention the haircuts as well, so much appreciated from the commentary team.
Just need to settle down a little bit, Green Gully, and just try and keep the ball for a good 3-4 minutes. Just again in that phase of play, a silly decision just to knock it long to no one. They just keep putting pressure upon themselves. Just keep the ball, take the sting out of the game a little bit.
Tennis, half penny, and eventually away by Judd McDougall. Again, Gully unable to find the fleet-footed Casper Hallam up top. This is Lockhead. Now Hope forced to go back towards his own goal. Regade. Still 0-0 here in the NPL Victoria round 11 match of the round from Green Gully Reserve. Rainy evening as the drought in Melbourne is finally showing signs of breaking here. Anzac Day football. It's about this time of year where the weather starts to swing a little bit and we start to see some proper winter football. And it's not winter temperatures yet, but it's certainly a damp night out there. So much of this season we've seen games played in temperatures of 25 and above. I would say, I don't know the stats, but I'd say, Mark, it's probably a record amount. So players having to be conditioned to playing in those really difficult conditions.
It would be by now. Usually it's that cold, cold nights, but we've been blessed with the weather this season.
All over the top to Brennan. It just sat up perfectly for him as well as he tries to send Matty Crooks the wrong way. He floats to the back post area. Regage's header. Mells is there and a diving save to deny Mells by Liam Driscoll. Second attempt on the game for South and the first on target. Driscoll equal to it as Mells tried to put all the pace on the header he could. That one's off the shin by Brennan. Not his best effort, but encouraging still for South. Some good signs here.
Yeah, they are threatening. It was a great effort by Mells. Good save by Driscoll to get down. Not easy to do that when he was going the opposite way. Some scores around the grounds. Steve Heidelberg's taken the lead against Avondale after 20 minutes. And Dandenong City taking the lead very early on against Port Melbourne. 1-0.
So some early goals going in. It's a feast of football. Anzac Day Friday evening, and Jalil Regade's got a full head of steam up as he goes surging forward for an adventure, but he's lost possession. He's picked it up here again, thanks to some good handiwork by Casper Hallam. Here's Crooks. It's opening up for him a little bit. Abdullah looking to get onto that preferred left foot, but, well, no pun intended, but these South defenders didn't come down in the last shower. They were onto that. Penny, as he fouled, play on's the call. South not happy with the decision. Lockhead in possession. Gully's going to keep going here. Penny's back up on his feet, hobbling around to get back into position. Definitely stung a little bit. Good ball for Abdullah. Touch into space. Hodges. A bit of a spell of possession here for the Cavaliers, which is what we're used to seeing them playing a high possession game here. And on a pitch like this, well, it's the best way to tackle your opposition you'd fancy. Dougal asking for options further afield. He again goes for Abdullah, who passes around the corner. It's a good through ball for the overlapping Matty Crooks. And it's off the arm there. Lampard, who makes the clearance, appeals for a handball. It might have been off the arm, or close to anyway.
It was a good spell of play for Green Gully. As we said, just retain the ball a little bit and take the sting out of South Melbourne. And the one time they've done it, they've created a half chance. But to be fair, South Melbourne is very organised tonight. They're going for more of a man-on-man approach, especially in the midfield. They're taking a little bit of risk by stepping up their line and making sure each Green Gully player is covered in those areas when they've got possession. So very hard for them to find those pockets. You saw in that phase of play, Abdullah just drifted out just a few steps and was able to get on it. And that's how they find that space out wide.
George!
It's Andy Brennan. From Lockhead. Is there a free kick to be given here? Play on, says referee Zizis.
That's a clear foul.
Like he had his arm tugged. Should see the whistle sounded here, and we do. And when we do, Gully wanted the advantage. No, it's a good point you made, Mark. I think it looks like to me that Lee Menopoulos and Tyson Holmes have really done that homework on the patterns of play from Gully, closing down those players who, the barometers of this Cavaliers team, Josh Hope and those players that are trying to get into those half spaces with a double pivot in their defensive midfield area for South. All into the box. It's away by Hope, who tracked the run well of his opponent. First touch by Mells, although he put it into the path of his opponent, and Hodges did well to win the ball back for the Cavaliers. Inganucci, who looks to have drifted out to the right flank temporarily, perhaps trying to cause a bit of an overload on the same side as Amir Abdullah, and it's put out of play by Yankovic.
People forget how good Menopoulos and Holmes were as players as well. So they were both, especially Tyson Holmes, very intelligent midfielder. Menopoulos, played a long time in the NPL, so they do understand the game. And I wouldn't be too worried as a South Melbourne supporter with those taking charge of the team at the moment.
South fans at home, are you impressed with what you're seeing? We'd love to hear your feedback. Always approach us through the social channel. Steve Curtin and Mark Ivkovic here. We're happy to give you a shout out. Your thoughts on what South are offering up here, and definitely a different style of football, and one that might be pleasing for the South fans. But what would be more pleasing is if they could open the scoring here as they chase their third win of the season in NPL Victoria. No win in their last 8. Certainly unexpected after they went 2 from 2. Here's Regain trying his luck from distance, and it crashes into the advertising hoardings. The first attempt on goal for the Cavaliers. Here's a shot off target by their central defender.
Great hit. Lopez is scrambling, especially with we said before, that previous shot from Andy Brennan earlier in the game. And that ball really travelling on this pitch.
Well, it was fine margins that separated these two sides in the corresponding fixture here last year. Emil Pios coming off the bench and scoring for South Melbourne. He put in an eye-catching performance off the bench that day. Hit the woodwork as well. Bit of a stoush going on here, right near the Gully technical area, and Giannis is going to be coming in and issuing some orders to the players involved. Nothing super malicious there, but the man on the ground again is Andy Brennan. Feels he's cops one to the nose.
A lot of the play is going down that side for South Melbourne, isn't it, Steve, tonight? Down Andy Brennan's left-hand side.
Yeah, definitely they've targeted that side. Jack Painter-Andrews on the right-hand side might feel a little bit neglected, perhaps. But Brennan's been great so far for South in this one. So the yellow card was shown there. To a South Melbourne player. So,
hard to read through that book on this form.
The stats package has been shown as a Green Gully yellow card. Your guess is as good as mine, but Giannis is just filling out the book for a caution for somebody out there. Here's Ianucci, and the flag's up for offside. Ianucci was booked in the opening minutes of this one. Get the timing of the run quite right there, and the South Melbourne back four doing its job. Lampard, Yankovic, Marshall and Evans making up the back four in front of Harvey Lopez tonight, who still doesn't have a save to make on a wet night in Keilor Downs here. Over half an hour gone. Looked at 0-0. NPL Victoria match of the round. Steve Curtin and Mark Ivkovic with you. We hope you're enjoying this contest wherever you're tuning in and perhaps bunkering down and taking shelter from the rain. Here's Brennan. Pass only as far as Crooks. Combining with Hodges, who says, go down the line, my friend. And Abdullah is free, so good instructions from Hodges there. Abdullah looking to run at Yankovic one way, then the other. Amir Abdullah, the fast feet, but he's double-teamed. Getting back there to do the defensive work was none other than, guess who? Andy Brennan.
There's absolutely nothing for Abdullah to kick inside that attacking penalty area as well in that play there. Just saw the Green Gully midfielders and attackers just jogging into the box there. You've got to be more desperate, more hungry to get into the penalty area in that moment.
Let's see if there can be some hunger in the final few minutes of this first half, as we see Casper Helms shifted out to the wide left position. He floats the cross in. Harvey Lopez not taking any chances. Goes the double-fisted punch. Crooks picks up the second ball. Here's Lockhead for the Cavaliers. Regaig, who's already tried his luck once. Surely he's too far out here. Declan Wynn. It is Hallam.
It's a horrible pass. Can't blame the pitch for that one.
Here's Pope receiving from Evans.
They're in a good phase of play there, Green Gully, and you've knocked it back and they've turned over possession again.
You feel they're just getting a little bit of momentum now, but as you said, like Amir Abdullah in the wide area, who's he going across the ball to? They don't have that physical presence in the box.
You can see both teams really struggling with no real number 9 per se. Rob Harding not really a traditional number 9 striker. Likewise for Casper Hallam. It doesn't make a massive difference when you've got a focal point up front or a regular goal scorer.
It's almost a battle of the Mosquito Fleet attacks here in this round 11 match of the round, and it's maybe consequently of that it's looked at 0-0 here, so who can break the deadlock on a wet night in Keilor Downs? That is the question at the moment. 6 matches of NPL Victoria taking place on Anzac Day today. Play by Judd McDougall.
Starting to find his feet in this game.
And after that early slip up, he's not really put a foot wrong. He's had a good debut, played the full 90 at Churchill Reserve 2 weeks ago. Here's Halfpenny, who's shrugged off that knock that he copped a short time ago. Yankovic's ball to Lampard, who drills into the penalty area. Good first touch, Rob Harding. Shoulder to shoulder with Regaig. Nothing doing there from Giannis Isis. Regaig, the bigger man, just using his body well. And Gully are going to try and turn defence into attack here through Ianucci.
Play now, play. If you get a switch, ball.
Let's hope. And they're forced back again. So once again, as you mentioned earlier, Mark, it's South Melbourne really quick to get into their defensive shape and really well organised without possession.
Just can't see Green Gully breaking them down in this type of play. They probably in those transitional moments need to be a lot quicker.
Crooks.
Hang on.
Hope's ball towards Hodges. He's going to pick it up. It was a little bit askew, but enough space and time to find Declan Wynn out wide on the left-hand side. Everyone behind the ball for South here except for Rob Harding. Floated into the back post area, easily headed away by Lampard. It's a silky first touch by Brennan. Who's been one of the standout players in this game so far. Down the line by Yankovic. Great first touch by Rob Harding, whose confidence is growing. These last couple of involvements have been threatening for the Gully defenders.
Robbie in the box! Robbie, get central!
Here's Mells. There's space here for Evans. Could he try his luck here? Perhaps the right back. It's Evans! Not far away. And that's the way it's going tonight. It might take a defender to break the deadlock, and the space and time for Morgan Evans opened up for him there. Wasn't far off putting that one in the top right-hand corner. Not a player who scores too many goals. Morgan Evans, in fact, is yet to score an NPL Victoria goal. What a way to open his account that would have been, Mark.
It was a good strike. Probably should have taken it on that last touch that he took when he was dribbling. Should have hit it then, so he had a little bit more space, and it probably would have come back down.
Pressure here on the South defence as they try and play out of their own penalty area on this wet surface at Green Gully Reserve. Actually, interception was by Lockhead, but they've given it straight back to the boys in navy blue. And here's Lampard in that unfamiliar number 17. Brennan floats it in. It was almost like a futsal attempt on goal there, but plenty of warning for Driscoll to get across and take that one in the bread basket. Quick to distribute as well as Gully try and get the ball forward quickly while the South midfielders further up the park. Oh, it's a bad turnover that time by Halfpenny. And here's Lockhead. It's Scott Lockhead. Oh, he went for the unselfish approach. In fact, it was Iannucci. This is Lockhead. And here's Josh Hope. Abdallah, in combination with Crooks, gets to the byline. Yankovic using his body well. He's going to round this one up and clear the danger. And an expert ball to Mells, who's coughed it up. So both sides exchanging possession in midfield. And Brennan, who's been the hero for South, has committed the foul there. And it's going to be a free kick in a handy position for the Cavaliers. Can they make something of this set-piece opportunity, Mark?
Well, it might be their best avenue to goal at the moment. But geez, in that last attacking phase for South Melbourne, there was a clear difference in the build-up. You know, nearly got caught out knocking the ball around at the back, but it paid off for them knocking it around because they were able to get out and ran with numbers, with pace. You know, we haven't seen that for a long time from them.
It's good to see sides willing to back themselves to play the ball out of their own defensive area on such a good surface and bait some opponents forward and then make that quick move into your final third.
Some big risk from South Melbourne here with such a high line. You're just inviting Abdallah to have a shot in this situation.
Could he go for the top right-hand corner here? He floats it, looking for McDougall. It's going to fall to Iannucci, who's telegraphed the pass to Regag, who was in an offside position. Let it run and out of play for a goal kick. So a good opportunity for the Cavaliers comes to nothing. Frustrating for the home fans here as we approach the 40-minute mark, first half of this one.
It's better off having a shot there, to be honest. You know, that with that line sitting so high up, it's, you know, to take an exceptional ball and an exceptional time run to get on the end of that.
Some shockwaves going around NPL Victoria. Over at Olympic Village, the league leaders are trailing Heidelberg by 2-0. Paul George opening the scoring for the Burgers. They just added a second, so Avondale are to drop points. That'll even things up even more at the top end of the table. First touch by Crooks. Makes a bit of space for him to move into. Hope's pass was well read by Yankovic. Read that like a book, and he turns defence into attack here, finding Andy Brennan in the long sleeves. He's been excellent down the left flank tonight. And he's given away the foul here against Hodges. And for consecutive fouls, he's going to go into the book here, Andy Brennan. He was warned after his previous infringement. Next time you will see yellow, and Andy Brennan receives his 4th yellow card of the season, so he will be on a suspension tightrope as of next week if he's to pick up another yellow. Ball rounded up here by Jack Painter-Andrews. Rob Harding's first touch has given himself something to chase as the two West Aussies combine, and it's now to play over there in front of the shipping container district here at Green Gully Reserve. Umbrellas are up. It's a wet night, 17 degrees here, not a breath of wind. Perfect pitch, and the new floodlights here, 5,000 lux. How about those candles, Mark?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. It actually looks good on the screen, doesn't it? You can see the difference on the vision.
Yeah. Hopefully it looks like a polished production if you're tuning in at home. Nick behind the camera for Sportscast Australia, giving you a bird's eye look at the action here as Brennan looks to saunter forward, combining with the overlapping Lampard, and he's going to win a corner here for South. Cavaliers are not happy. Not happy at all. Gully want a goal kick, and goal kick it will be.
That call has come from the assistant referee that's standing on the halfway line. Yannis Isis was right next to that ball. You would say that the referee had a better line of vision for that. Pressured by the Green Gully coaching staff to make that decision.
You see some surprising things in the NPL competition, and well, another one of them here is going to be Jalil Regag taking the goal kick. We know Liam Driscoll's had been playing through an injury so far this season, kicking with his non-preferred foot often, and this time the big roost from the left footer, the natural left footer Jalil Regag. Get themselves up the park. Throw in over here in front of the players' race.
There has been a different approach from South Melbourne, that's clear, but it's still the same issue of not really being able to create anything of note that's really threatening this Green Gully defence. It's still the same issues going forward, despite the different approach to the way they're playing.
Here's Abdallah.
Then fucking do it.
McDougall.
Got some height on him, doesn't he, Steve?
He's a tall lad. 20 years of age, still filling out a bit perhaps, but they've left himself a little bit exposed here to Robert Harding on the attack. Will he try his luck from distance? Good save, Driscoll. Rob Harding knew the cavalry was arriving to mow him down, and he lined up the shot. He got it out of his feet. As much power as he could on it, but it wasn't enough power to knock it past Liam Driscoll from that kind of distance. He was well positioned to get a double fister on and put it out of play. So Gully defence leaving themselves a little bit exposed there, and Rob Harding nearly taking advantage.
Yeah, another cheap turnover in the middle of the park, but that was superb play from Marko Yankovic to, one, read that pass, steal it, play a superb ball through to Harding. Probably should have gone a little bit closer to goal. Harding did hit it well. It's a fantastic save from Driscoll. You can't be turning the ball over in that phase of play by Green Gully. You're set up to attack, and really poor choice to play the ball into that area.
Comes the in-swinger from Lampard. It's at the back post. Brennan's header into the side netting.
Cover Lampard! Cover Lance!
Gully can breathe a sigh of relief as we approach the halftime break here. Anzac Day football, and news on the Football Victoria website today. The search for the soccer Anzacs as we pause to remember those who served the nation in the Day of Remembrance today. A recent interview with Football Victoria historian Tony Pasolia, sitting down with historian Dr. Ian Sison, who is leading a project which aims to uncover the Australian soccer players enlisted in the AIF during the Great War. So quite a body of work that is, but the importance of history to football here as we play the ball into the penalty area away by Lockhead. South making a final charge in what'll be 1 minute of added time. As I was saying, an important project to recognise the contribution of footballers in the Australian Defence Forces in the Great War. And a project that will continue to also review the contribution of Victorian footballers in subsequent wars, including World War II and the Vietnam War more recently as well. So an apt discussion for Anzac Day to talk about this happening in the shadows of half-time. It's South Melbourne trying to get themselves the opener here. Marshall was the target. It was a decent ball in. Brought down by Brennan. Put it in's the call from the technical area for South. Towering header by Yankovic. And that's going to be half-time. Neither side good enough to break the deadlock here in a hard-fought match in wet conditions in the NPL Victoria match of the round for round 11 at half-time. It is Green Gully 0, South Melbourne 0. Albert Harding with a recent chance, forcing a save out of Liam Driscoll. Gully restricted to some long bombs from Jalil Regaig striding out of central defence. A tight one. South Melbourne may be shading it. How did you see that one, Mark?
Yeah, South Melbourne probably the more proactive of the sides. Green Gully really struggling.
Green Gully Reserve after this short break. At the moment, Green Gully 0, South Melbourne 0. You can catch myself, Steve Curtin and Mark Ivkovic back for all the fun of the second half of this one after a short break. Welcome back to Keilor Downs here. Green Gully Reserve is the scene. Green Gully Cavaliers and South Melbourne locked at 0-0 in a first half that was something of a slow burn. Steve Curtin with you and alongside me. Welcome back to the commentary position for the second 45. Mark Ivkovic, what can we hope for in this second stanza?
Hopefully a little bit more of entertainment would be good for the people watching. But I think probably both sides really need to look at their attacking phases of play and find a better avenue to goal, really, because South Melbourne, bar a few chances from outside the box, really didn't create too many clear-cut openings. They had that Rob Harding chance just before half-time that was a transitional moment. And likewise, Green Gully barely created a sniff besides Regage's shot from distance, so they need to probably change their approaches and attack both sides. And that should make for a more entertaining second half.
Now, referee Giannis is about to get us back underway. No change to the starting 11s for either side. Gully with Driscoll in goal. Gage and McDougall in central defence. Wynn, the left back. Crooks, the right back. Hodges, Lockhead and Hope in midfield. Iannucci and Abdallah on the flanks. Hallam leading the line. South with Lopez in goal. Evans and Lampard, the fullbacks. Yankovic and Marshall in the centre of defence. Andy Brennan on the left flank, getting forward here again. He was a star in the first half, and he's won the first corner of the second 45. And as I was saying, that South 11, Halfpenny and Pope and Mel's the midfield three. Harding leading the line. Brennan on the left. Peter Andrews on the right-hand side of the attack. And concentration required here for Green Gully. They don't want to be caught cold coming out of the change rooms here in the opening minute of this second half. It's Mel's to deliver.
Stay tight, Paul!
The corner kick. Stay tight is the call. You heard that through our effects mic. McDougall with a defensive header, and it was fired back at goal, blocked again by that Gully defence, and Driscoll's had a couple of bites at the cherry. Whistle's gone.
John,
that'll
how's you allowed to get his
relieve the tension of the Cavaliers, who were under the pump there in the opening seconds of the second 45. It was Brennan that had that pot shot on the volley, and it was blocked in the 6-yard box. So once again, Andy Brennan, who's been the star man in this match, living up to that billing, winning the corner, and then having a real crack on the volley. Another attempt on target for South. Their fourth attempt on target for the game. Cavaliers just with the one. Forward by Crooks. It's Hallam giving chase. He hasn't got a lot of support. Josh Hope is making a run to the back post area. He's given that cross a real roost. Pressure from Hope against Evans. There's a whistle on play here.
Another poor decision in attack there from Green Gully. That ball needs to go hard and low across the face of goal. Chances or creating chances are few and far between tonight. You really need to make the most of when you're getting in behind the defence in that situation.
Hallam, who hasn't had much of the ball, he really did kick the cover off that one, and Hope was never going to be able to chase down the cross. McDougall, in fact, he had his arm pulled there. Play on's the call. It was jousting with Rob Harding, who was quiet in large parts of the first half, but he came into his own in the latter part of it. A couple of good touches, one attempt on goal, forcing a good save out of Driscoll. Definitely should have his tail up after scoring a couple of goals in the first half against the Eastern Lions last week on Easter Saturday in the Australia Cup. Both of these sides advancing in the Cup competition to the fifth round. South Melbourne will play the Bentley Greens away Tuesday the 6th of May. Well, it's a date with the Thunder for the Cavaliers on Tuesday the 13th. And they'll also play them in the league the following Friday. So the Dandenong Thunder side will be sick of the road trips out here to Melbourne's northwest after that. Here's Hodges trying his luck. It's Paul Hodges. A game that needed something to spark it alight, and it's delivered by the defensive midfielder, Paul Hodges. And it's his first goal in the green and white of the Cavaliers, and what a time to score it. The Cavaliers taking the lead. South Melbourne shell-shocked. Only the second attempt on target, and Hodges does the damage.
What a goal. You know, that work rate to come flying in for that challenge and win it cleanly, and then to cut in a great finish. That's a fantastic goal. And that should spark Green Gully to life. Not often do you see a player challenge for a ball like that, like his life depended on it in that situation. That's the reward you can get for making a challenge like that.
He really flew in, sliding across the turf, a couple of touches, left then right onto his preferred right foot. And it was top ends in the top left corner from Paul Hodges. The off-season signing, 31-year-old Englishman from Bassington Town. His first goal. What a way to score your first goal for your new club. Really announcing himself here in this encounter against the 2024 Premier's Plate winning side, South Melbourne.
It's a very Englishman-like challenge, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The guile to slide in and win the ball, and then to go on with it and rifle it into the top corner as well. It was one of the more workman-like English in and under. Tough phases of play from an individual. Look at the space here for Amir Abdullah between the lines. He's going to try his luck, Amir Abdullah. Good save, Lopez. Almost as many goals in as many minutes for the Cavaliers. And South Melbourne, well, they just gave Abdullah way too much space there, Mark.
Yeah, well, they've been so organised in the first half. That was the complete opposite of being organised. Jack Pope and George Mells just called ball watching up top and allowed all that space in the middle of the park. Well done from McDougall to pick him out.
Here comes the corner. It's away at the near post. It's away by Harding. And here's Painter Andrews. And the line is Wynn to intercept the pass. Harding giving chase. Driscoll giving direction.
Now it's going to be interesting to see South Melbourne's style of play and how they can react to going one goal down.
Fancy that Gully are looking for a quick second here after they've ruffled the feathers of South, staring down the barrel of their 9th straight game without a win in the league. That last win when they belted the Knights on Monday Night Football in round 2 of the competition. Seems like a long time ago now for South.
Because it was a long time ago, Steve.
It was in February, so it is now nearly in May. Here's Abdullah. He thought about trying his luck, and he goes for the worm burner, and it's going to be easily fielded by Harvey Lopez. That's a Lampard. Well, yeah, South have got to go for it now. We'll have a look at some of those subs available to Lee Menopoulos and Tyson Holmes after this attack. It's fizzed across the face by Hallam, and he couldn't find Abdullah. Perhaps that could have been low and hard across the box as well there, you fancy, Mark?
Yeah, especially in these conditions.
Yeah.
You know, anything can happen, a missed on clearance, or you could sneak in behind. You're not going to beat South Melbourne in an early battle.
Look at Jalil Regay here, full head of steam onto his preferred left foot. Yankovic with the intervention. Turned it over here again. Outball by Evans was straight to the green and white. Josh Pope in possession. Lockhead now.
This is where my personal frustration comes with, you know, forcing play when it's not on. South Melbourne just need to clear their lines at the moment. They're under heavy pressure. No need to just play it out of the back because they're turning it over and just applying that pressure on themselves.
What can South offer on the counter here through Brennan? Pressure from the goal scorer Hodges. Wins the ball back straight away. And the fourth official is preparing the board for a change here for South. They might want to make that change before they concede another goal-scoring opportunity to the Cavaliers. Lucas Inglese, Andrew Messaruni, Max Mikola, Charlie Leach, and Sam Franco, who made his club debut in the Cup last week, are the available substitutes, and it is going to be Nicola, and it's going to be an NPL Victoria debut for Sam Franku, familiar name in the South Melbourne Football Club, getting his first chance to strut his stuff at senior league level after debuting in the Cup last week. Ball out in front of Lampard. He's onside here. Plenty of space to supply the cross, and he floats it into the back post. Pope was there. Away by Hodges. Yankovic is going to escort this one over the touchline, and we'll see those changes now, will we? Yes, we will. Here we go. So 55 minutes on the clock, and here come those changes. So Max Mikula getting his chance to enter the fray. Wasn't deemed 100% fit to start this one, but what can he offer off the bench here? It looks like it's going to be the end of the day for Morgan Evans as well as George Mells, who make way.
Oh, was it upside down?
So that might cause a bit of a reshuffle here. Keep an eye on that one, Mark.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work that one out. I'd say Painter Andrews will drop into defence to cover Evans. So Franco's got just a like-for-like spot for Mells.
Here's Pope. Decent effort. Got it out of his feet and really leathered that one. Liam Driscoll relieved to see it fly past the top right corner. So what can those changes from Lee Menopoulos and Tyson Holmes offer here for South? They need to find a way back into this game. National second division bound club can't afford to find themselves sitting in the relegation zone in NPL Victoria. Headed by Marshall. Down the line by Lampard. Harding's the target, but off his line is Driscoll to come and claim in the purple kit. And with the Cavaliers now in the lead, it's going to try and slow things down when they're in possession in these sort of situations you fancy now. This is McDougall.
Anywhere you need to go, Amir. Anywhere you need to go to get the ball.
Okay, growing in confidence. Ian Nucci with a little glancing touch to Abdullah. Making the run in behind as Josh Hope appeals for offside by the South Melbourne defence, but the flag stays down from the assistant. Declan Wind. This is Hope. Can he supply the cross on his non-preferred foot here? And it's not a useful one. Straight into the breadbasket, and Harvey Lopez can turn defence into attack here for South.
A big difference in the second half so far for Green Gully is Abdullah really getting on the ball a lot more. You can see he's not playing a structured position in this second half. He's just drifting into pockets where he can be dangerous, and it's really working for Green Gully at the moment because South Melbourne can't track his runs, and he's finding the right areas to get onto the ball.
What a switch of play by Mikula to find Brennan. Over to the back post. Mikula's unmarked. He's headed across the face of goal. Abdullah's back there after you mentioned, Mark, him doing some good work in the final third. He's back doing the defensive job in his penalty area as well. Marshall forward to Pope with the flick on. Oh, missing the header there was Regaig, but no harm done as it harmlessly trickles through to the West Australian goalkeeper, Liam Driscoll. So, Green Gully yet to make any changes on the bench tonight. Riley Byrne, Adisu Bayu, who's a handy player to have available for David Chick. Plenty of A-League experience and a couple of goals at that level with Western United. And a reverse pass by Brennan. Wasn't a bad one, but Gully were alert to the danger. Also got Alion Kifle, Carly Manzi. The sub-keeper is Thomas Favero, the young 20-year-old. And also Zach Krashevic. Nicola. Franco's pass forces Paint Andrews to retreat back to pick up possession. Nicola, who looks like he's lining up on the right-hand side of the attack, which is where we saw Paint Andrews start the game. So, as you mentioned, Mark, it does look like to be the case that Paint Andrews has gone from right wing to right back.
Just a score update around the the ground, Steve. Heidelberg 3-0 up against Avondale in that upper end of the table clash. Half-time, Dandenong City 1-0 up against Port Melbourne, and Preston Lions and St Albans 1-1 after 15 minutes.
Plenty of goals going in around the grounds, and we're glad we've got a goal on the board here as we approach the hour mark in this one. If you have just joined us, it was Paul Hodges opening the scoring after half-time. A game that needed a goal. It was a bit of a slow burn in the first half. Paul Hodges, an all-action moment, sliding in, winning the ball back, and then going on a little bit of a short run and firing into the top left corner past Harvey Lopez. As South concede their 18th goal of the season.
Concerning thing for South Melbourne, which has been a consistent theme throughout the season, is their lack of fitness. You know, they look already run off their feet after an hour. And obviously now with playing a more high energy pressing game up the pitch, you know, it's taken its toll on them already, you know, an hour into a game in round 11. You know, you've got to be more up to scratch at this point of the season.
It was a fortuitous touch by Yankovic, and he's able to find Lampard. He's going to gallop over the halfway line here. He's got Harding to aim for in the box. This is Robert Harding with the chance at full stretch. Great ball in. Lightning counter-attack by South, and could that have been a moment that, well, could that be a moment that Rob Harding wishes he could have again?
He's probably got to hit the target there, Steve. I know he's at full stretch, but you've got to judge that ball, and he was in the right area, but look, it was, to be fair, it was coming at extreme pace after that, you know, the wet surface.
Always hard to get a touch on the skidding surface, that's for sure, with the pace on the cross. Yankovic is getting further and further forward when he gets on the ball. Nicola's been the go-to in attack since he came on off the bench a short time ago. This is Sam Franku, the player on NPL Victoria debut. Oh, Pope trying a little bit of Josh Hope there, if you don't mind. Pope, still he goes. This is Jack Pope off the post. Oh, what a goal that would have been to level things up. Jack Pope lighting up Green Gully Reserve, and he's done everything but level the scores there.
Jeez, that's extremely unlucky. He did so well there. You know, first pirouette, and then still getting through there. Managed to hit the ball so well. Unfortunately, off the upright. Might spark South Melbourne into a bit more confidence going forward, though.
Just do enough.
Well, they said that Josh Hope was prime Zizou a couple of weeks ago. He might have been outdone there.
Who's there?
By Jack Pope. Everything but the finish. Brennan with the corner. That hangs in the air. Can the Cavaliers clear this one away? Goal kicks the call.
I'm going to say, Steve, that Zizou comparison to Josh Hope is probably the worst comparison I've heard. No disrespect to Josh Hope, but one pirouette doesn't make you any breath similar to Zizou. Especially against St Albans.
Especially if it's on pitch 2, pitch 3. Good first touch by Hallam, and then it's a little bit of a rainmaker, and Lampard with the interception coming through 100 miles an hour. But coming the other way was Matty Crooks, former teammates nearly colliding. Here's Wynn, an enterprising first touch, and Crooks, that might have been going in. Blocked by Marshall. And off the crossbar, we have it again. Woodwork being hit at both ends of the ground. This game that was a slow burn is turning into a bonfire here at Keilor Downs now.
I don't know how Amir Abdullah is allowed to shoot in that situation. It was a great effort for Crooks. That definitely was flogged into the back of the net. But Abdullah had all the time in the world in the penalty area to take a touch, bring it down, set himself and shoot.
I don't know how he hasn't scored.
There's got to be more desperation from the South Melbourne defence to close him down, especially Amir Abdullah on his left foot. That's what he made his name on last season.
Well, very alert to that kind of danger in the first half with South, but since the half-time break, they've allowed Amir Abdullah space and time on a couple of occasions, and they've probably been fortunate that he hasn't punished them for it.
it's definitely been a tactical shift from David Chick to allow Abdullah to play in that floating role in the second half. Defensively, he's more set up on that right wing, but when they're in attack, he's just wherever he feels like being most dangerous. Which is an extremely smart move from David Chick, to be honest, to get your most dangerous player involved in the game a bit more, because he was missing in that first half.
Couldn't agree more on that point, Mark, as we see South back in possession. So both sides hitting the woodwork in short succession here. This match was... Brennan. Oh, good save, Driscoll. And Pope with the follow-up, easily blocked by Hope. And Abdullah scanning for options. It's a long diagonal ball out in front of Casper Hallam. He'd love to get on the score sheet tonight, but he's shown too much of that to the South Melbourne defence. South trying to get the ball forward. It's going to be a yellow card there for Hallam. It's a pretty crude foul. And he goes into the book. Does the Tasmanian, and that is his 5th yellow card of the season by my stats, Mark. So that would mean a holiday for next week's trip to Preston Lions next Friday night.
Check his birthday, Steve. It might be his birthday next weekend. Very unnecessary yellow card to get.
Especially if you are already on 4, as per the stats page that checking this morning. Here's Mikler in a bit of space, but the ball's going to run a little bit long. Does well to keep it in with the fast feet. Painter Andrews, the first time cross. It's a real rainmaker. The back post area. Back across by Lampard. It's a bit long for Pope. Here's Painter Andrews again, who's, we said, gone from right wing to right back. Gully, you've got to clear their lines here, and eventually you're going to be able to get a reprieve through the whistle of Yana Scissors. Judd McDougall in the orange boots is the player down on the turf, and you would imagine that Gully will take as long as they need over this one.
Yeah, just kill that momentum that South Melbourne's built in the last 5 minutes.
So it's Paul Hodges' goal on 49 minutes. It separates the sides. South Melbourne coming out of the halftime dressing rooms on the front foot for the first couple of minutes, but hit by a stunner from Paul Hodges, his first goal for the Cavaliers. Here's Iannucci. Forward by Lockhead. This is Hallam. Quick to turn and face forward. Desperate defending by South here. Forward by Painter Andrews. Only as far as Reggae. Here's Wynn. Nice little switch of play. Crooks is in space here. Gully moving the ball from one side of the pitch to the other to stretch this South defensive structure, and that one was just a fraction too long for Josh Hope. So good at making those runs beyond the number 9 as he did there, but the weight of the pass a little bit too much on it, and it's like we're going to see Disu Bayu getting his first taste of the action tonight.
They've really lost their way in the second half, South Melbourne. As we said, that was so structurally set up well in that first half, but it's all over the place in the second half. I put that down to the fitness that I spoke about before. You know, they don't have the legs to sustain this type of play at the moment.
It is fascinating, Mark, that a team at this level, this quality, with the National Second Division coming and everything, that they wouldn't be preparing themselves for a season and not having the fitness at this time, but it does seem all too evident. Yeah,
which, very surprising, especially, Esteban usually had a decent pre-season program where they trained quite frequently. I'm not sure what changed in their pre-season this year, but it's been evident in a lot of games this season that they've just run out of legs, especially at the hour mark. And since we've hit the hour mark, these past 5-8 minutes, they've really been all over the place.
So Adisu Bayu is out there now for the Cavaliers, and a kid from Cobram who's been sacrificed take his place. So like for like, Gianluca Iannucci off, Adisu Bayu on, and it's going to be Bayu giving chase here, and a couple of speedsters eventually seeing the ball over the touchline. To Andrews. And Adisu Bayu, stride for stride. Franco's touch. Midfield scrap here for the ball. Who can come out with it? That's well played by Sam Franco. So a kid on his NPL Victoria senior debut, trying to make an impression here and turn the result of this game as it's floated to the back post. Mikola's there. Well, maybe he could have directed that more towards the goal. He was unselfish. Crooks skips past the challenge of Halfpenny. He's still got Adisu Bayu ahead of him. Abdullah, it's a good first-time touch, and the right back here is sauntering forward. And eventually, Yankovic is going to mop up and try and mount the counter-attack here. This is Lampard. Brennan, who's been so good tonight. They need something special from him now. To South Melbourne. Scrapping for the ball over on the far side. Even Casper Hallam, the striker, getting back to try and keep the pressure on the South Melbourne left winger, and he's going to win a corner kick here. So Andy Brennan looking a bit buggered as well. Hands up on the head. He's worked pretty hard up and down the touchline. A lot of repeat bursts.
Yeah, he's definitely worked his socks off tonight.
Just needs a moment here to prime himself for a good quality delivery of this corner kick here. It's not what South are looking for, although the second ball did fall to Jack Pope. In fact, it was Franco. Should I say Halfpenny, but whistles go on. Cavaliers are going to be able to take a few more minutes off the clock here. It's going to be another change for Lee Menopoulos and Tyson Holmes, and it's going to be in the shape of the diminutive central midfielder, Charlie Leach. Yet another West Aussie entering the fray, the 23-year-old.
Fair enough, these numbers, not 88, Steve.
88 and 99 both out there. It's a little bit like something you see in maybe
Just come off, man.
Italian Serie A. You get a lot of this sort of thing these days.
I got told quick. Come on,
Just to generalise that one. I don't mind these South kits though. They're away strips. They look pretty sharp actually.
Yeah, it must be their third kick because I think their away kit's white, but never knew that royal blue and green and white was a clash.
Maybe one for the merchandise sales perhaps, but the way this result is going though, there might not be too many shirts sold tonight unless they can spark something special here, which certainly isn't beyond them. And the fresh legs of Charlie Leach offer as he slots into central midfield here. He gets his first touch to put it in the path of Mikola. Confirmation of that change. It was Halfpenny coming off, so a like for like in positional sense, but maybe not in height sense.
Very different profile of player as well. Leach, more of a ball-playing midfielder. Halfpenny, more an aggressive holding midfielder.
Speaking of players like that as well, South without Ross Archibald again tonight as well, so another familiar presence that we've seen for South, who's not there to command that area of the field.
I don't think we'll be seeing him probably at all for the rest of the season, Steve, with the injury he sustained against Altona Magic a few weeks ago.
Jack, ball. Give us the ball. Doesn't matter what it is, just give it a pull.
73 minutes gone here. Paul Hodges' goal. He separates the two sides. This is Rick Aig taking on all comers as he strides into the South Melbourne half. Win leads Mikola a merry dance. Decent ball through in front of Josh Hope. He's going to get there before the by-line. Sliding in, though, was Pope. It's Hope and Pope. They're really going one-on-one all over the park. It's good to see.
Rogers on the pickle juice here at the 73rd minute.
Someone's got to be up here.
Lead back to the box, please. Come on.
I say, don't be fooled by the rain here. It's still a reasonably warm night, 17 degrees at kickoff, so a bit of perspiration still happening for both sets of players, obviously, including Paul Hodges, who's worked hard in that holding midfield role. As the corner comes in, it's a real rocket and a half over to the back post from Disu Bayou. Not too sure what he was thinking there, he was trying to achieve.
One of the worst corners you'll see.
It's like he was kicking for a field goal in the NFL or something there, Mark, the way that one went up high in the air over the top of the pack of players.
We'll cut him some slack. He's been out with injury for a long time.
Well, we know his quality. We've seen him at the top flight of Victorian football, and does have a A-League title to his resume. He was in the squad back when Ashford did win the league under John Aloisi over Melbourne City a couple of years back. Hodges has won the free kick here, and again is going to be able to take some more time off the clock here. Just what South Melbourne didn't need.
That's exactly what he's done there. Easily could have kept on playing there, but just fell to the ground to take the foul.
Some gentle encouragement from Charlie Leach to get back and continue with the play as the rain gets a little heavier here again. Cavaliers are going to be singing in the rain if it continues like this. And you heard through our effects mic there what the South Melbourne coaching staff thought of that little scenario there as the free kick was taken out wide, and South have got the ball back in their possession at least, so they can try and conjure something up here through Marshall.
The irony of South Melbourne complaining about a team wasting time.
It's well played by Lockhead, but Nicola barged in and stole it off Regay, and it's a free kick here. South.
It's a smart foul from Hodges.
He knew he had to commit there and cop the yellow card. So a handy position here for South. A little ginger there as Jalil Regay, the bigger man who was knocked down by Mikola.
Well, especially Mikola can hit it from that distance. He had no choice but to tug him down there.
Riley,
he had the momentum.
make sure you're warm.
Probably would have hit the target from that distance. Still a good position for South Melbourne, especially Mikola.
He's going to fancy himself here. I wonder if he can get it up and down over the wall and bounce it in front of Driscoll and get it to skid as Mikola tries it over the top. Well, it certainly wasn't bouncing in front of Driscoll, that one. Over the crossbar.
It looks like he didn't set himself properly for that. A couple of steps.
Sort of rushed a little bit.
Yeah, you're not going to get enough power on it from that distance with that run-up.
Get him up! Get him up! Adisu!
It's like Andrew Messarooney being readied as well down there for South. Second half, the time's just evaporating really quickly here for South. As they stare down the barrel of their, what would be their sixth loss of the season. Andy Brennan is the man who's, well, I have to say, he's been their star man tonight, and his shift is done, and Messarooney gets the opportunity.
So reshuffle now from South Melbourne, go to throw at the back. So Lampard push a bit further forward. It's probably the right thing to do with 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, good call, I think, from Monopolis and Holmes in the technical area over there for South, the interim coaches. Lockhead. Bayou. It's another handy foul for the Cavaliers. Real sense of frustration coming from our right here in the South technical area.
Well, there's an easy way to fix that frustration. Don't make fouls in the middle of the park. They complain against right and centre, but they're all been clear fouls.
Headed by Painter Andrews, who's started the game in the front three, and he's now a member of the reshuffled back three as they chase the game here. Regag off the chest. He showed too much of it to Harding, but he won it back in the end. McDougall. Pressure from Messaruni. Headed by Yankovic. Hallam. Crooks now.
Move the ball.
Still he goes, Matty Crooks. Outside of the foot pass for Bayou. Disu Bayou. Leach was flying in there. He's given away a free kick in a really, really handy position for the Cavaliers, but again, South Melbourne just committing foul after foul here, it seems, and it's just causing time to evaporate really quickly. Yellow card out for Charlie Leach.
It's a silly foul to give away in that area. Painter Andrews had that covered. Now you're giving Green Gully a pretty dangerous opportunity.
We hope you're enjoying this one wherever you're tuning in, whether you're in Melbourne, the shelter, just enjoying this one with a nice cup of tea, out of the rain at home, or regional Victoria, or further afield or overseas. Hello to Joel in East Geelong, who's enjoying this one. Our viewers at home, impressed with the new 5,000 lux lighting and also the quality of the surface here after the pitch has been re-sown over the last 6 weeks. It's Abdullah to try and double the lead. Away by Harvey Lopez at full stretch. And watched it all the way onto the gloves. No nonsense from Crooks. The last 10 minutes here. South Melbourne need to find a spark. Meanwhile, the Cavaliers could, if results go their way, could find themselves in the top 6 this evening after a horror start to the season. An exclamation point coming after a humiliating 5-0 home loss here to Dandenong City back in early March. Another change coming up for the Cavaliers. Carl Imanzi.
Over, Kasper.
He's been involved in all 10 games this season, Carl Imanzi, but often coming on off the bench.
Another foul given away by South Melbourne.
Casper Hallam's been really good here and just holding onto the ball and drawing those challenges. Another chance for Disu Bayou, and David Chick will be hoping that he can improve on his delivery from that corner kick a little earlier. In it comes to the back post area. Running a tall timber there for South. They're having trouble getting the ball out of their own defensive third at the moment. South Melbourne. Well played by Josh Hope. Touch for the substitute Messaruni. Away by Wynn. It's a clever header out in front of himself for Disu Bayou, who thought he might have been fouled there. Play on's the call from Giannis Isis, and Max Mikkel is going to try a raking switch of play here. And Matty Crooks winning the ball back, and he's got Hallam and Bayou ahead of him. He's sliding it in front of the substitute in Disu Bayou. Harvey Lopez out using all of his 18-yard box to pick up that ball and distribute it back.
City's taken the lead against the Melbourne Knights. 40th minute there.
Goals going in at all grounds so far this evening. 6 games in NPL Victoria tonight taking place. Next match after tonight, Monday night football out at Bundoora, the home of the Matildas. It's Melbourne Victory's reserve side against Dandenong Thunder. What a season Dandenong Thunder have been having, by the way. Look at McDougall here, the central defender, taking a leaf out of the book of his central defensive partner in Jalil Regay going on the forward run. And it's Abdullah over the bar again. Another chance for Amir Abdullah, looking to rediscover his 2024 gold medal form for Hume City. Unable to keep that one under the crossbar. We've got a problem for Scott Lockhead, who's down here, and well, the Cavaliers will be hoping, but it's just a bit of cramp, not a pulled hamstring.
So Melbourne look really disjointed when they're in attack at the moment. I know they've changed the structure to try and chase the goal, but you've got to keep your shape when you're going forward. So throwing numbers and not hitting your targets with your passes, they just keep turning the ball over, and Green Gully keeps hitting them in transitional moments. You just feel like Green Gully's going to pitch another one on the break at the moment.
He seems alright, Chris.
It does seem that way. South Melbourne, they definitely looked the better side in the first half, but after that 49th minute goal by Paul Hodges, they've been all at sea trying to get themselves back into this game. Forward by Yankovic. Franco's ball out wide.
Next one, guys, yeah.
Still plenty of time left for South to conjure up something here. Into the last 5 minutes of regular time, there'll be a healthy amount of stoppage time, you'd imagine, added on for the stop-start play we've seen in the second half. That's a nice switch by Sam Franco. Found Lampard, but Lampard went to ground. You can hear what they thought about that over in the South technical area through our effects market. Tusu Bayou's pass for Abdullah. Pope almost looked favoured to get there for a second, but Abdullah made it his quite easily. This is Bayou. Good to see Tusu Bayou back out there after a long spell with injury.
Gotta move it quicker, guys. Gotta move it quicker.
Andrews, and he's sliced that one out of play and then back in again. So it's going to be a Cavaliers throw. And it is time for Karl Imanzi, the 22-year-old, to make his 11th appearance of the season for the Cavaliers in round 11.
Just forcing things that aren't on at the moment, South Melbourne. Playing passes that just aren't on, and long balls, and no real structure these last 10-15 minutes.
It's Josh Hope, one of the real leaders of this club, who's got the early mark. Clearance by Marshall, one of the South players, or the only South player to play every minute of every game so far in the league this season. It's going to be Wynn, the 30-year-old South African, to take the throw here. Bayou the target. Can he hold it up? Pressure from Painter Andrews, and now Mikola gets out onto that preferred left foot and sends it up the line. So Lampard going to ground, and he wins the free kick. Wants to take it quickly, and he does so. Messarouni in a little bit of space out near the players' race. Hodges has done well, and he's been fouled there. Another needless foul by South. Hodges is going to take some more time off the clock here. Messarouni stuck a leg out.
Besides that Pope chance that came off the upright, they have not created anything of note in the second half, South Melbourne. You would have expected a bit more desperation, especially in the last 10 minutes, chasing the game, especially with the situation they're in as well. Now, Green Gully can move 6 points clear of them.
After the first half performance, it certainly is a surprise that they haven't been able to create more, especially with some good players coming off the bench. Likes of Max Mikola, one of their prime movers. I'm not sure if the fourth official's board is broken here or what's going on, but there's a lot of frustration from South Melbourne players and staff continuing. Scott Lockhead is going to be replaced by Riley Byrne, who comes on for his 8th appearance for Gully this season. An extra body in central defence, it looks like, Mark.
Yeah, well, you might as well just try and lock up the game and keep it at 1-0. South Melbourne struggling to penetrate this defence as it is.
Well, we are into the final minute of regulation time here as the Cavaliers chase another win. They've been on a good run of form, 3 wins in their last 5 league outings. 4 in their last 6 if you want to count the all competitions tally with their win over Keilor Park in the Australia Cup / Doherty Cup competition in the midweek. Casper Hallam pulling it all on the line there again, a player who's played in all 10 games so far and looks like he might get a holiday next week.
It's become very predictable as well, South Melbourne. Get the ball out wide and then just try and cut inside through the middle. Gully's just cleaning it up for fun at the moment.
Putting the bodies back there with that extra central defender in Riley Byrne out there as well. As the 90 minutes is up here, and there's a bit of unrest out there on the far side of the park, but cooler heads might prevail here. And 4th officials board is going up, and that is confirmed as 5 minutes. So 5 minutes is the added time from 4th official Marcus Luceris. Fair to say that South Melbourne aren't too impressed with that allotted amount of time, Mark.
Well, I'm not sure what Lee Monopolis wants. The 5 minutes is a decent chunk of at a time. It's a sign of a team that's really struggling. And a lot of the fouls committed were their own doing, injuries. They went down for minutes. 5 minutes is a fair amount of time to be added on.
Well, Giannis says this might be adding some more notes to his notebook here, Mark, as well, because the 4th official has had a little bit of a word to him over the transponder here. And the yellow card's coming out for, looks like Lee Monopolis has gone into the book as well. So plenty of yellow cards being issued to South players and also staff this evening. Giannis is not happy with what he's hearing from the South technical area. A lot of their gripes were with the allotted amount of time, the 5 minutes added. South didn't feel it was enough, and the complaints really haven't stopped. David Chick reminding his players to stay concentrating. They only lead by 1 goal, so they can't afford to slip up here on the wet track at Green Gully Reserve under the 5,000 lux lighting here. The new relayed pitch looks absolutely fantastic, and South Melbourne with a mountain to climb in, stoppage time. All the way back with Harvey Lopez. Good distribution by the keeper. Finds Mikola. This is Franku. Combining with Pope. One behind the ball for Gully. Set for Adisu Bayou.
You got a fucking mark, Riley.
Marshall. Yankovic.
Stay in there, stay left wing.
Line McDougall, who played in a win on his debut in round 9. Oh, sorry, I say round 10. Looks like he's going to do it again in round 11. Yankovic will float this one in to the penalty area. Driscoll can claim here. It's a slippery ball. He gets it on the second bite. A couple of heart palpitations in the Green Gully penalty area and the technical area too, for that matter. And he's in no hurry to get back up on his feet here. Here's the keeper.
now they're justified in a bit of their anger of this time wasting. It's completely unnecessary for Driscoll to go down. But to be fair, if South Melbourne were in their position in this situation, you'd probably be doing the same thing.
It was a nervy moment for Driscoll. He come to claim and the ball just slipped out of the gloves for a moment. It's a player who's been playing on through injury throughout this season. So they have something of a goalkeeper crisis in the opening weeks of the season. Hopefully he's okay.
Come on, listen.
Trainer is out there to going through his paces as we wait to resume play. The rain gets heavier as well. So he's back up on his feet with a bit of a hobble.
Line up.
So final throws of this one. Green Gully looking for their 4th win of the season. Travelling South fans, well, they're voicing, you can hear through our effects mic what they think of this situation.
I'm sure this time will be added on to the already allocated added time. This is going to go deep into 8-9 minutes of stoppage time. I'd say, Steve.
Driscoll okay to continue, which will just add to the frustration of the South fans. Over the far side under the roof in their blue and white scarves. Good to see a travelling contingent of fans in NPL Victoria football. Good to see it more often. South get the free kick here in the middle of the park. Still time to be added on here. Played 6 minutes now of the allotted 5, so not too far away, but that injury delay with the trainer coming out to Liam Driscoll will certainly add on probably 2 minutes. So you fancy we might play up to 7 additional minutes here. Cavaliers trying to hang on. Not long to go now. Marshall's aerial assault. Was away by Riley Byrne, the substitute. Here's Pope, who hit the post earlier in this second half. It's in by Painter Andrews. Decent cross, but it's repelled by the green and whites. Rooney trying to scrounge for whatever he can find on the edge of the area. And the decision goes against South. It's a goal kick. Had that been a corner, that might have put the cat amongst the pigeons a bit. Would have been a chance for Harvey Lopez to come and join the attack.
Get the feeling you could play an extra 30 minutes here in South Melbourne's not going to find the back of the net. It's just not happening for him tonight in attack.
A wet night, a wet Anzac day in Melbourne. Hasn't been South Melbourne tonight. And the long goal kick goes up over the halfway line. Anywhere will do now for Gully. Harvey Lopez is going to go route one. A little bit of dip on that long ball. Here's Franku. A little bit of space there for Harding to run onto. Couldn't bring under his spell though. Mikola, is there any magic in the boots of Max Mikola here? It's away again by the Cavaliers, and it's going to be full time here. Green Gully, inspired by none other than Paul Hodges with his first Cavaliers goal, proves to be the difference. And Green Gully break their hoodoo against South Melbourne that goes back to 2018. That's their first win in 7 years against South Melbourne.
Disappointing night for South Melbourne, really, that second half. Green Gully, credit to them, adjusted a few things and got back into the game. And, especially that Abdullah change really changed the momentum for them, allowing him to get into dangerous areas. But yeah, South Melbourne will be disappointed with their second half display after coming out the blocks fairly strong, but just really faded away as the game went longer into it.
We look at the form now, and the Cavaliers now picking up, make that 4 wins in their last 6 league outings, shooting up the table. We'll see how those other results pan out tonight, but hypothetically could be as high as 6th place tonight. That might be unlikely, but they're doing everything right. They've got some tough assignments coming up in the next couple of weeks. Preston Lions away next week, then they're back at home here in a fortnight against Avondale. And as we mentioned, the double trouble against the Dandenong Thunder. They'll play on Tuesday the 13th here at Green Gully against Dandenong Thunder in the Cup before playing them here again on the Friday night, which is the peculiarity of the fixturing is rather hilarious for the Cavaliers and the Thunder. That match will be in round 14 of the competition. South Melbourne, well, it doesn't get any easier. They face Avondale next Saturday afternoon at Avenger Park. It's not the fixture that they want and not the timing that they want, is it, Mark?
No, that's going to be a tough game for them, especially with the way the results gone tonight for Avondale. You know, they tend to bounce back extremely well after a loss, so a lot of work to do for South Melbourne, a lot of work to do for the club, really, to sort their coaching situation out. They need to fix things quickly because, you know, they're falling behind on that table and need to start getting wins together.
That's right. And also, should I mention as well, the following league match after a cup match midweek against the Bentley Greens, they'll play the grand final rematch against the Oakley Cannons. And Oakley, they look to be in devastating form at the moment. Players coming back from injury. Chris Taylor's side really flying at the moment. And then we're back to where we all started with South playing Port Melbourne at home on the Sunday of round 14. But as you mentioned, Mark, the coaching situation is the priority for South. Lee Manopoulos and Tyson Holmes, the caretaker coach, put out an organised side in the first half, but it was that strike on 49 minutes from Paul Hodges, an all-action moment, sliding in, winning the ball, and then going on to just rifle it into the top left-hand corner past Harvey Lopez, confining South Melbourne to their 6th loss of the season, which is quite extraordinary. They only lost 4 in all in the whole league last year in 2024. But as the crowd heads out of the venue here, heavy rain falling at Green Gully Reserve. Plenty more football coming your way. A couple of games in progress at the moment that you can jump onto, including the final throws of Dandenong City and Port Melbourne, also Preston Lions and St Albans, also Hume City and the Melbourne Knights. And don't forget, Monday night football coming up for you. Hasn't that been a treat this season to be able to sit back and watch football after dinner of a Monday night? It's Melbourne Victory and Dandenong Thunder from the home of the Matildas. Mark, it's been a pleasure to be alongside you in the commentary position under the shelter here in the gantry at Green Gully this evening.
Yeah, likewise, Steve. Another enjoyable night of NPL Victorian football.
A big thanks as well to Nick behind the camera for Sportscast Australia. Thanks for giving everyone at home the best look at the action. And to the victor go the spoils, and that's Green Gully Cavaliers, and one of the longest streaks without a win against a rival club in NPL Victoria is over. Green Gully, their first win against South Melbourne since 2018. We hope you've enjoyed this contest, and Gully fans certainly singing in the rain here tonight at Green Gully Reserve. We wish you a good evening from Mark Ivkovic and myself, Steve Curtin. Thank you for your company on the live stream tonight at full time. It's Green Gully 1, South Melbourne 0. Good evening.